Hey guys, welcome back to my watercolor channel, and today I try myself again on a rose. I kept it quite simple and prepared some colors I have practicing before, so that's why the colors are ready. I have a nice red out of upper rose and then a cadmium red. So it's really light, and then I prepared some green out of lemon yellow and some turquoise blue. I try to be very careful with the roses or with the petals of the rose. I have been painting flowers before, but it always feels quite difficult and challenging for me. What I do is basically, in order to keep the fragility of the petals, I kind of keep wet the certain area and then add a little bit of color. I use a reference picture for it, so I have a little bit idea what kind of shape the rose is, or what kind of shape the petals are, which direction they are leading to, where are those little small veins, where do I need to add the shadows or darker areas. I wait a little bit that each area has dried before I add more water. I think very important with the petals is to keep them quite imperfect in the sense around the edges, so it looks much more natural, and then adding around the edges as well darker areas. You can see I already added the green, and I continue with the second bigger petal, so just adding a little bit water and then some red. If it feels like that the paper dries up, it's always possible to add some of the paint and then spread it around with the brush. Now I also prepared some purple, so it's made of upper rose and then some of the cobalt blue. But at the moment I don't want to use too much of it. It's a little bit like, it takes a little bit of time to add the different colors there. While I waited that the inner petals are drying, I add some green to the leaves. So like really light green of yellow, lemon and some cobalt blue, and then adding a little bit more of the cobalt blue to have a much darker blue. I continue to add some purple, so mix some purple, and then carefully around the touching petals, or between the touching petals, so one is on the top of the other. Also here I waited till everything has dried so I can add another layer there. And you can see that I use two brushes. So on one brush there's just water, and on the other brush there is some of the paint. I don't want to have too many hard edges onto the leaves as such, unless it's in a really darker area, so within the flower. And it's worthy to use a very thin brush, or a brush with a very thin top. Thus I continue to add a much darker red. and then emphasizing some of the areas on the leaves, on the petals, and sorry, not on the leaf. So there is a little bit more of a contrast, but always waiting till the area, one area has dried, and so I continue with the other area. Then a little bit more onto the edges. I think it takes always so much time to do flowers, at least for me, because I add layer after layer, and sometimes it feels that it's not enough, but it is everything is a practice, so it's good to practice, although I'm not too perfect at it yet. But I think I still need to find a nice balance, how much paint to add and how strong it should be, and then how much water to add to spread it. I'm very careful with this rose here, so it's kind of like a rose that's a little bit pink whitish. I haven't dared to paint a complete red rose. While the petals of the rose are basically drying, I add to the stem of the flower more green, and then a little bit more of a Prussian blue there, so I really wanted to have a nice contrast, especially in the shadowy areas. And then emphasizing the edges. Now I continue to do with the background, so basically it's just adding some water and the colors that I have used before. For this I used a very big brush, as well as using some of the green and yellow, but I wasn't quite sure about the yellow, and then adding the more of the pinkish colors a little bit around, so that the form of the rose is coming forward much better. I like it when there is a nice flowery background. But yes, that was it. So thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe. Bye.